Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we really get into the essential concepts that shape how we work and innovate here at Alter.
hmm
Today, we're continuing our series on what it really means to be an alt-link.
That's right. We're exploring the values that underpin Alter's vision, which, as you know, is to be recognized as the home of limitless creativity.
Pretty powerful statement.
It really is. And today's deep dive, it's focused on a core value that's, well, absolutely critical. E2E ownership, end-to-end ownership.
Yeah, E2E. And its defining statement is really direct. I address problems immediately, preventing them from escalating.
Okay, address problems immediately. That sounds simple, but I suspect there's quite a bit packed into that.
Oh, definitely. It's much more than just, fixing something when it breaks. It's a whole mindset.
And that's why we're diving deep, right? Because
Yeah.
these values aren't just words on a wall. They're how we operate, how we collaborate. They make Alters stronger, more united.
Exactly. They're the foundation for that limitless creativity we're aiming for. If the foundation's shaky, creativity struggles. So, E2E ownership is about making sure that foundation is solid.
Precisely. It's about creating a culture where we tackle challenges proactively. We don't just wait for things to go wrong.
Right, we prevent those small issues from turning into massive headaches later on.
Which lets our ideas really take flight because the operational side is handled. It's reliable.
Okay, so let's unpack E2E ownership. What does it really mean? Because I think a common misunderstanding is just, okay, I did my part.
Yeah, that's a big one. My task is done, so I'm finished. E2E ownership is much bigger than that. It's about owning the outcome.
The outcome of the whole thing, not just my little piece.
Exactly. The outcome of the entire project or the whole task from its very beginning to its very end. You're accountable for its success overall.
So accountability at every stage.
Every single stage.
Yeah.
And it's not about like stepping on toes or doing everyone else's work.
No.
It's more about having the courage, maybe, the foresight to spot potential issues early.
Solving them before they become real problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before they derail things, before they impact the client or the rest of the team. It's like you're the guardian of that project's success.
A vigilant guardian. I like that because just doing your part, well, your slice might be fine, but if the whole pie collapses.
Your contribution doesn't really matter in the end, does it?
No. So this is the big difference from just, ticking a box and moving on. You're invested in the whole journey.
It's a complete perspective shift. You're not just executing tasks, you're ensuring impact. You're part of the engine, not just a cog.
All right, let's get practical then. What does this look like day to day at Alter? Give us some real examples.
Okay, well, spotting a roadblock,
Mhm.
you see something, maybe just a small sign, that suggests a deadline might be at risk. Instead of waiting, you flag it immediately before it actually does derail the deadline. No last-minute panic,
That's huge. What else?
taking responsibility for fixing errors, even if you didn't cause it.
Ah, okay. So not pointing fingers.
No finger pointing, not waiting for someone else to find it. You see it, you own it, you make sure it gets fixed. That shows real initiative.
And consistency too, I imagine, like following up.
Absolutely. Following up without needing reminders. You own the task, so you see it through. You don't need someone chasing you.
That shows you're invested.
Deeply invested. And it's also about thinking beyond just your specific job title.
How so?
Thinking about what the project needs. Maybe that means stepping slightly outside your usual role to fill a gap or helping a teammate. It's about the collective goal.
Prioritizing the project's success over staying strictly in your lane.
Exactly. And communicating proactively, especially when things aren't going well. Sharing bad news early is crucial.
Oof. That can be tough, but yeah, it builds trust and lets the team adjust course.
And the last piece, maybe the most critical, is closing the loop.
Closing the loop, what do you mean by that?
Making sure nothing falls through the cracks. Every detail, every question, every follow-up action is seen through to completion. That's the end-to-end part.
Got it. So no loose ends. We've all seen projects get stalled because someone thought something was done,
But it wasn't. E2E ownership prevents that. It ensures completeness, which is vital for our standards and, frankly, our speed.
Okay, let's make this even more real. Think about Alter specifically. Where do we see this happening?
All the time. Take someone in client services, our CS team. They might pick up on a subtle change in a client's tone, just a hint of concern.
Right, something small.
Instead of ignoring it or waiting, they escalate it internally, maybe loop in strategy or creative early.
So the team can address it before it becomes a real issue, turning a potential negative into a positive even.
Exactly. Or think about a designer working on, say, one campaign asset.
Okay.
but they notice something off-brand in a completely different presentation someone else is working on. A wrong logo, maybe? Instead of thinking, not my project, not my problem, they flag it. They suggest the fix. That's protecting the overall brand. That's E2E.
Yeah, that's thinking bigger picture. It's not just about tasks, but dedication too, right?
Definitely. Like a strategist staying late. Not because someone asked them to, but because they know a deck needs one last tweak based on feedback to be perfect before it goes to the client.
They own the quality of the outcome.
They own the outcome. That commitment, that's E2E.
And it's not just senior people either.
Oh, absolutely not. Think about a junior team member double-checking a tiny detail. A figure in a report, maybe?
Yeah.
That one small check catches an error, saves the team from rework, maybe even embarrassment. Those small acts are incredibly valuable. They prevent that snowball effect.
And maybe the ultimate example is the project lead who just holds themselves accountable, even when things get tough or no one's watching.
Right. No excuses, no blame, just ensuring the project succeeds. That quiet commitment is E2E ownership at its core. Owning the outcome, not just managing tasks.
So when everyone embraces this, what's the impact? What are the benefits we see?
Well, the most obvious is that problems get nipped in the bud. They're solved before they escalate into crises.
Like fixing a tiny leak instead of dealing with a flood later?
Yeah.
Much less painful.
Way less painful. And think about the team dynamic.
How does it affect that?
Massively. When you trust your colleagues are also practicing E2E ownership, you feel supported. You feel aligned.
You know they're looking out for the whole project, not just themselves.
Exactly. It reduces friction.
Yeah.
Less chasing people, less wondering if things are getting done, more focus on the actual work. It builds psychological safety.
Yeah, knowing people have your back, that's huge.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it boosts trust like crazy. Seeing someone consistently take responsibility, proactively solve problems, you trust them.
Right.
And that trust means accountability isn't scary. It's respected. It shows you're reliable, you're valued. It builds real team unity.
Okay, this is all really powerful stuff. So, for everyone listening, for you, as an AltLink, how do you make this real in your own work? How do you apply it?
We need some practical takeaways, right? Some questions you can ask yourself.
Exactly. Tools to actually do this.
Okay, first one. When you see a challenge, even a small one, ask, what can I do right now to stop this becoming a bigger problem?
Immediately proactive. Love it.
Then when you finish something, ask, have I really followed through, start to finish? Is every detail covered?
That pushes you to think about the whole life cycle, the full end-to-end, closing the loop.
And third, remember, it's not always about doing it all yourself. Ask, does someone else need to be involved here to resolve this properly or to take the next step?
So knowing when to collaborate or escalate is also part of ownership.
Absolutely. It's about ensuring the best outcome, however that happens. Leveraging the team is key.
Okay, good point.
And maybe one more. If I wasn't here tomorrow, would this stall? Or is it set up to move forward smoothly?
Ooh, that's a good one. Thinking about documentation, handovers, making your work robust.
Exactly. Prevents future problems. These questions are like your personal E2E checklist.
They really shift you from being reactive to proactive. Makes you indispensable, really.
And it frees up so much energy for the creative work, for the innovation, because the operational stuff is solid. It's being handled.
It's the strong foundation we talked about.
It's the invisible engine driving the visible results.
So wrapping up this deep dive, let's just hammer this home. At Alter, E2E ownership isn't about blame.
Not at all. It's the opposite.
It's about courage. The courage to step up, act, and solve things before they become big issues. And this collective ownership, this bravery, it's what fuels that vision of limitless creativity. It provides the stability needed for big ideas.
Imagine the bandwidth freed up when everyone operates this way. It's huge.
So here's the final thought for you to take away today. What's one small act of ownership you can take right now in your current work, on your team project?
Just one small thing.
Look for that little crack, that potential issue, that loose end, and just act on it. That's where real ownership starts.
Think about how that one step could prevent a future headache, not just for you, but for the whole team, for Alter.
That's how we build that foundation for limitless creativity together. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. Keep thinking about E2E ownership.
We'll catch you on the next one.